folks, this is Ben, here coming to you live with my thoughts and assessment of the game from a non-professional gamer and non-professional racer perspective. You can say this is a review from a typical regular Joe, like yourself maybe. Now, I mainly played the career mode, but I did dabble in one chapter on Season 9 and did some multiplayer games, so my assessments are purely based on my experience. Ooh, look at that. So let's dive into the positives. Curbs. With a reduced punishment for using the curbs, I didn't find myself forcing or slowing down my bike as much anymore. And I can set the bike up a little earlier to hit the apex and let the bike roll out as I hit the gas. Full gas! Easier to win. Perhaps it's down to my experience, but I've won all the rounds I've played on so far this season in my Moto3 career compared to some time last year with the MotoGP 21. At 80% difficulty, I managed to do very well in some tracks like Portimao or Jerez, or even this track at Valencia, but found it quite challenging on other tracks like Aragon, where I had to restart the race, or Mandalika. Wow, that was a new racetrack that was quite difficult to manage and on very weak machinery. Some chicane heavy tracks are easier now. Tracks like the Circuit of the Americas, Coda, or Silverstone seem to be easier on MotoGP 22 when I flip the bike side to side while attacking the chicanes. Perhaps the tracks seem wider, or the setting of the bike seems to tremendously help with the bike characteristics, but I found it easier to win on these tracks compared to MotoGP 21. Adapting to the new series. The understeering problem from my first impressions are now a distant memory. Yes, the gameplay felt a little different when I first picked up the controller for MotoGP 22, but with the setting guide from racinggames.gg, I've gotten used to the bike handling. I think I'm even doing better in tracks that I used to struggle like Silverstone and Austin. The new series also removed joint braking, so I had to learn to adapt and use a third button for rear braking. With the assigned rear braking being a button, it is more challenging not to press hard on it and lock the rear and force the rear of the bike to wash out or slide out. So I've learned to tap it occasionally and rely on the front braking and tipping into a turn a little earlier. Does this mean that I'm a little slower in terms of lap times? I hope not, but I haven't compared my lap times in 21 versus 22. Improvements from 21. Now I don't know all the improvements that were done to the game, but these are some of the ones that I have noticed. 1. Gearing. When exiting the pits in 21, the bike will be high revving in first gear all the way out pit exit, which was kinda annoying and very noisy. In 22, it does not have this anymore, so that's great. The bike feels and sounds more natural. 2. More front brake assist. With the removal of joint braking, the cornering input and roll tipping assist helps to prevent me from falling and crashing at every turn. So I have it on moderate setting, and it gives me a little balance between having fun and constantly crashing. 3. I can't be certain, but I feel like the AI riders are a lot more random, which adds a little flavor to racing among the AI. But the AIs are also not necessarily The AIs the AIs don't necessarily race on a straight line, and may attempt to race each other and with me. So that's kind of cool. Game improvement wishlist. 1. I would like if the haptic feedback on the DualSense controller is a little more sensitive. I find that the front brakes don't give me enough feeling that the front brakes are locking up, which causes the trigger to kind of chatter. In one of the MotoGP 21 versions, the haptic feedback was very good, so that I knew when to release the front brake to prevent a front end washout very consistently. Not so anymore with 22. 2. I wish that there was a wet and dry setting quick toggle, which will allow me to feel the track better and ride better in the rain, because it seems strange to have a dry setup and ride with the same kind of braking points in some corners. Not all, but these inconsistencies make the gaming experience feel less genuine. Weather. On certain racetracks, I wish the rain will just not be a issue in tracks like Coda, and tracks like Le Mans will have more dodgy weather, because that will add a bit more realism to what I've experienced so far in the actual MotoGP 21 and 22 season so far. And I would really like to have dynamic weather changes during a session. Graphics improvement wishlist. Well, many are still upset that we haven't got the new 22 liveries for the Moto 2 and Moto 3 class. I'm not as skeptical about it compared to the wetsuit bug that seems to exist. When the weather goes from dry to wet, or from wet to dry from one session to another, or vice versa, the wetsuit will not come on or will not come off. So that is just kinda annoying. 2. I hope Mile Stone will redo the faces for the official riders, because it looks very bad on some riders, and the generic faces don't look very convincing either. Give us more variety, because there's more different types of people on this planet. 3. A rider's helmet and race number is about the most unique identifiers in MotoGP. So I hope that Mile Stone will allow us to have replica helmets and allow us to edit these helmets and numbers with these patterns from the replica helmets and font types from the race numbers. So those are my thoughts for the first month of playing MotoGP 22. What are your thoughts? Have you picked up the game to play for yourself? Are you on other platforms apart from the PS3 platform? Let me know in the comment section down below. Again, this is Ben here, enjoying my time with MotoGP 22, and I'll give you an update later on in about a month's time. So there you go. That's me winning the Moto 3 career. Going to...
It's been a long season for this lad, full of bitter disappointment and unrestrained joy. He fell, he got up again and never looked back. It's taken a lot of sacrifice, but now we can say it was all worth it. He is the new Moto 3 World Champion.
I didn't lose at all. I mean, I suffered a bit by restarting the Aragon race and struggled really bad with the rewind function on Mandalika. But overall, I did use the rewind function quite a bit. But yeah, pretty good. So this is my custom helmet. It's like starfish and a scratch mark on one side. Ooh. That's Lorenzo helmet. That's Marquez's helmet. That's Diabolo's helmet. Yeah, very cool. But this is not MotoGP though, so I think they're using a generic cutscene. Look at him looking at the trophy. Is that the real Moto 3 trophy? I thought it was something that's cylindrical in shape that goes up in the turn. But anyway, that's my reputation. Skip, secure, skip. 6,000 credits. Development test, I still do this, although I don't really need to. And you can see I have won every single race and I've gotten all the trophies. So that is fantastic.